guys, it's Deb, and welcome to Touchdown Timeout. Thank you so much for joining in today. See that little subscribe button? Go ahead and hit it. I've got a great show for you today. This guy, he is a visionary. He's an entrepreneur. He gives back, and he's got that athlete's mentality, of course, because he's a former NFL player. Guys, please help me welcome former wide receiver of the Oakland Raiders, the one, the only, Mr. AC Cheetah Caswell.
Hey, I like it.
Hey! How are you?
I'm doing good.
I know you're in Arizona right now. I know coronavirus has kind of taken over there. How are you?
You know what? It is kind of taking over, unfortunately, but we're fighting through it, and we're being safe, most importantly, and, trying to do our part with wearing masks and trying to make sure we keep everybody safe and secure. But, we're not going to let it stop us. We're going to continue to have fun and enjoy life and continue. Like, as you know, we're athletes. We're going to continue to compete to win. So, yeah.
And that's what you guys do. So AC, you do so much between sports marketing, you have a sports marketing business with a magazine, you do youth camps for football, charity events, and we'll talk a lot more about that later. Mm-hmm. But first, you have a very interesting and unusual way that you got into football, and I would love to hear about that.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, once again, thank you for your show being a platform for giving our athletes the opportunity to share our vision, to be able to hopefully talk about some amazing things that we're doing currently as a player, and as well as most importantly, life after, actively, which is a tough transition, like anything.
Life after football can be hard. Absolutely. For a lot of
and I think we need this platform to bring awareness that we can continue to be successful on and off the field, as we always, say that saying. But I have a very, very unique story. I'm sure I'm not the only guy, but I'm one of few guys that taken the journey, a true journey to get into the NFL. I mean, and I think when I wouldn't wish that upon everyone, because I don't think everybody's built mentally and emotionally to endure what I went through to get to the NFL. What I loved had been drafted and solved a lot of, problems, of course, but it didn't happen that way. But thank you for giving this platform to talk about it. And I say that because I'm sure there's other athletes who are like contemplating, man, how do I get to that road in NFL? It's not going to be easy. Everything is not given to you. You're going to have to climb some ladders to get up there. And I was one of those guys. Not only did I climb the ladder, but I think I built the ladder that I climbed on.
You did.
So with that being said, being a kid, and I always share this story because I love my background, where I'm from. But I'm a kid who was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. Very proud to say that. It was a very, very rough environment, but it taught me, that grind, that hustle, that competitiveness. It taught me how to compete to win and how to fight for things. Nobody gave you nothing. So I wouldn't trade that upbringing for nothing in the world. But growing up as a youth, every kid's dream is to become a professional athlete, whether it be football, NFL, NBA, hockey. We always dreamed that, hey, I believe, I want to make it. Not really knowing that we had the talent to do it, but we bought into that at an early age. Like, man, I want to be, of all teams, I want to play for the Cowboys. I want to grow up and be in the NFL and play for the big Dallas Stars. So that was that's what kept me motivated, believe it or not.
Right.
But so as I got a little bit older, went into high school. Obviously, was a 2-star athlete, football and track. I excelled a little bit quicker in track, obviously, with having some world-class speed in high school and college. Was blessed to go to a junior college because my grades slipped a little bit in high school, so that led me to a junior college. If not, I always say this, I was going to go to USC, diehard Trojan fan, or Arizona State as my backup plan. But neither one of those schools I had a chance to attend because, once again, coming out of junior college, Glendale Community College in Arizona, go Gauchos.
Yeah.
I did football and track. And my freshman year in track and field, I had one of the fastest times in the world as a sprinter as a freshman. So that opened up a lot of doors. Like, wow, let's keep an eye on this kid. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, after my 2 years of junior college, I ended up turning pro in track and field first. Traveled the world running track, getting ready for the Olympics, and then from that time point, a couple of football teams started taking eye to me. Like, oh wow, this kid can play. I know his background. He didn't go to a 4-year school or get drafted. Can he still play football? And I knew that I still can play.
Of course.
And mainly saying that because my best friends all got drafted into the NFL. I worked out with those guys. I trained. I never stopped loving football and practicing. But I knew that I was going to have a hard road to get there. So one day, one of my best friends who played in the NFL, he said, hey, man, you're doing a lot of things that receivers are doing in the NFL that, man, you're doing right now that you're practicing against me. You should really get back into football. And I'm like, yeah, right. But they kept telling me and they kept believing in me. And they said, no, you really have the talent. You just need an opportunity. We have an agent that we want you to talk to, and let's see what happens. So I took that road and hired an agent, one of my friend's agents, and he was honest with me. He said, hey, you got you're 2 years behind, maybe 2 or 3 years behind. It's going to be a tough road to get there. Are you willing to take that commitment if I open up some doors? I said, absolutely. And here we go with the journey. Oh my goodness. So
right, and there's that athlete's mentality. Go.
So I knew, but here's what I will tell everybody. I knew before anybody put their neck on the line for me, Deb, I have to do my part. And that's one thing I would tell everybody. Be ready for the opportunity. Yep. Somebody can open the door, but if you're not ready, you're not going to make it. So I knew that I wasn't going to let myself down or those who believed in me and took that risk. So I worked hard. I trained. I worked out. I got ready. I got NFL ready. That was my goal. But then once I worked out for a couple of teams, out of all the teams, Mr. Al Davis, thank God for him. He saw a vision in me that, man, I like this kid. He's a Raider, whatever he saw in me. And he sat down and talked to me and said, hey, I like what you can do. If you can do A, B, C, D, and E, I'm going to sign you to a contract and make your dreams come true. Well, that motivated me even more. And I did that. But here's the twist. So once I did that, here comes my journey. I thought I was ready for the NFL. No, I went right into going to Canada. So they sent me to the CFL. I played up in Edmonton. And I was like, and it was different, it was very different. And it was challenging. And I went to one of the coldest cities probably in Canada, which is Edmonton. So I played there for a couple of years, signed a professional contract to play there. I thought I was ready. Well, when I got back from there, I ended up playing the Arena Football League. So I played the Arena League. I'm like, man, am I ready for the NFL? Said no. So now here come another twist. So the Raiders says, well, you're almost there. Basically, we need you to go up in Fresno. We want you to play semi-pro ball to get a little bit more experience. So I go up to Fresno, and I'm freaking playing semi-pro ball up in Fresno, and I don't even know why I'm there, killing it on the football field, but so different. And I said, all right, I'm ready. So finally, the Raiders said, okay, let's bring him in. Let's get him ready to go. And they threw me one more last curveball. So I got ready. I'm with the team. I'm working out. I'm getting ready for preseason. I mean, I'm an official Raider now. Right. And all of a sudden, the Raiders organization, my agent said, okay, well, they want you to go to the World League, which is overseas in Europe.
NFL Europe.
So we were all allocated by our NFL teams, but that was one more step I had to achieve. So I went up to the World League and played, obviously, and came back to the Raiders, and I was ready to go. So it was a long, long journey.
It's a long journey. And what was the difference between NFL Europe and NFL America?
Well, the thing that what made it tough was NFL Europe, which is called the World League at that time, is that you only had so many American players that were allocated on each team. So maybe we only had about 10 American guys out of a 53-man roster. So you had to learn how to play with other countrymen, and it was tough because they didn't have the same knowledge of football. They didn't have the same maybe competitiveness, and aggressiveness that we had. We were there to kind of like play and teach because we're planting the seed throughout Europe. You know what I mean? So that was tough. It was a little bit different.
And you're one of the only NFL players to play in all 5 of those leagues, correct?
You know what? Pretty much. I believe, like I said, there may be 1 or 2 guys out there somewhere, but I'm pretty much one of the guys that can truly say I got contracts to prove every league that I played in and I got a jersey number for every team that I played on and say my road to the NFL was truly one of a kind.
Now, when you were with the Raiders, you guys were the fastest team then, and you're fast, obviously, coming from track and field. What was that experience like? What was it like to be a part of that?
You know what? I tell you what, whatever Al Davis saw in me, I see why. Because when he recruited me, like guys like Rocket Ismail, James Jett. I mean, we even had names that were fast. That's what's so crazy. Napoleon Kaufman, Tim Brown, who's now my cousin-in-law. He wasn't. We always tease him. He wasn't in that speedster category, but he was fast. He was football fast. But when you talk about, we had James Trapp, we had guys who have won the NFL fastest man contest, guys who have been to the Olympics. I mean, all across the board, we can have speed. And so a lot of teams knew that, okay, man, when we play against the Raiders, or even going into training camp, these guys are going to run us into the ground. And we really did. That was one of our weapons. And Al Davis loved it. I mean, he loved it.
Right. And because you were so fast, that's how you got your name, Cheetah, correct?
Yes, ma'am. My mom gave me the nickname when I was a kid. Obviously, she saw I was beating everybody as a kid, beating all my older cousins and uncles. And I'm 8 and 9 years old, beating grown men and teenagers and just street running, just running all over the place, challenging everybody. You want to race? You want to race? And my mom said, well, you're a little cheetah, and I said, okay, cool, I'll take it. Never thought that it would stick with me throughout my life and career, but it was a perfect fit, the cheetah, and I just played into it and like, hey, I'm the cheetah, but you can't be the cheetah and not be fast, so I had to work on that speed to hold up to it.
Right, and obviously a perfect fit. I know something else that was a perfect fit as well. The Raiders colors, silver, black, white. What was it like to wear those colors?
Oh, I tell you, it was a powerful, powerful color. I mean, I never thought, when people now I understand in business that it's about your brand and we are the brand.
Yeah.
But now as I look back on it, I tell people this funny story all the time, on the golf course and with corporate, they love to hear the stories. And I said, if you go do your history on our owner, it started with our owner, Mr. Al Davis. Everything he did was black and white. Black limos, white sweatsuit, black sweatsuit. Everything was black and white, a little bit of silver. It was all about his brand. And obviously I have a funny rookie story, to tell all the viewers, about initiation and being a rookie. So my first rookie year, my rookie day, walking into the facility, like I said, I was a big Cowboy fan. I thought I was going to play for the Cowboys. And my first mistake that I made when I walked into the locker room was I had on all Cowboy colors. Didn't have their logo, but had the Cowboy colors. And, man, I got literally thrown against every locker room. Guys picked me up, slammed me against the locker room. I mean, they didn't physically, beat me up, but they, I was a grown man, felt like a little kid. And they said, don't you ever disrespect this organization by wearing somebody else's colors. It's all about silver, white, and black, and I even got fined from it. I got thousands of dollars taken out of my check. And
how much was it?
Oh, can't tell you the amount, but trust me, I'm still feeling the pinch, so. So I learned that you got to love your brand. And now my whole wardrobe with suits and sweatsuits and cars, everything is freaking white, black, and silver. And
you learned.
And my fashion designers, who dress me when I say that for my events and things like that. And you got to get away from black, white, and silver. There's other colors that you can wear. I said, am I going to get fined? I'm still looking over my shoulder.
You're having PTSD. You spoke a lot about Al Davis, and he was the owner for 39 years of the Raiders from 1972 to 2011. May he rest in peace. I know you guys had a tight relationship, and he was sort of your mentor. What did he teach you?
Oh, he was. I mean, and I think every player that had a piece of Mr. Davis would tell you kind of somewhat the same stories. But me, on a personal level, he was a guy that took a chance on a kid like me off the streets, straight up. And when I came down, brought me back home to LA because I was going to school in Arizona. And he made my dreams come true. And he used to come every day after practice. I didn't even think this was true. Everybody said, Al Davis is watching your practice film on me. I'm like, man, I don't have time watching me. But what he taught me was he's looking at his investment. We are his investment. And he's trying to see how do I make my investment have a great return. And he used to sit down and talk to me about life and about business, about marketing, about branding, about being what it means to be a Raider. And he said, and pour that into me. Like, giving me an opportunity to make his sweatsuits personally for him through one of my sportswear companies that I started while I was playing ball. He invited me to corporate parties, and just telling me, man, be more than just an athlete. Become a brand. Learn how to market. And that man, he meant the world to me. I mean, love him to death.
And now you own a sports marketing business because of Al.
Absolutely.
Called Future Pro Sports. You've got a magazine. What does your company entail?
Well, you know what? I definitely became a visionary, for sure. And that was all due to Al, because he said, dream big, think big, know that you can be committed to commitment to excellence, strive to be number one. And all those things, I knew that I have to have some vehicles to carry that out, because you can only do so much on the football field. And also I had great veteran guys in front of me that said, hey, don't just rely on football. We own restaurants and car dealerships, and become an entrepreneur. So as I became an entrepreneur, I started my first business, which was my nonprofit, Youth on the Rise Foundation. Gave me an opportunity to collaborate and network with other corporate professional athletes and celebrities to help us raise money. And then from that point, I started teaming up with some former player, good friends of mine, that had the same purpose, same vision. And we started a sports marketing company called Future Pro Sports Marketing. Future Pro Sports Marketing is a sports marketing company where we work with different athletes from different levels, from professional athletes to college, high school, youth. Our slogan is training future pros to be the next pro. So we bought into that. How do we start with our youth? How do we start with our little ones and develop them to be somebody important, not just through sports, but the success of life of what we've gone through. So Future Pro Sports Marketing, it plays a major role in today's society as far as developing athletes, training them, giving them the right tutoring programs with their education, health and wellness, very competitive football camps, from combines to 7-on-7 tournaments. I travel, my traveling team are former athletes who take the field and coach these kids. We do speaking engagements. So Future Pro Sports Marketing, it has its own brand that we started called Future Pro Gear. So it's such a fun company, and it allows me to employ other former athletes to kind of keep them involved and keep their head up,
Right. Because again, that whole life after football, what do you do?
Absolutely.
The transition can be rough for a lot of players that I know.
Yeah, the transition is tough. I mean, and I'm so thankful that, when you name the companies that we do have, respectfully saying, but they're also vehicles, to bring guys to the table and say, hey guys, our football days are over with, but let's use it as a positive. We can't bring everything into the corporate world with us, but we can bring enough to where we can be successful. And that's what we try to do, is pull that out of those guys and say, guys, here are our vehicle. And once again, when you say, hey, we have 4 or 5 companies that we own, which is true. But you know what? We're able to do that because we have a great team around us. All of our businesses are team oriented. They're ran by our team. That's what allows us to be great in what we do.
And you also do a lot of charity work as well. You had the $1 Million Mingle coming up. Unfortunately, it was canceled due to COVID. But I know you're kind of working through all that and trying to schedule another one. Tell me about the $1 Million Mingle.
Man, I tell you, thank you for mentioning that, Deb, but that is our baby. We love the $1 Million Mingle. So that was a vision that we started back in 2006. It's a high profile, high luxury celebrity fundraiser, and it really raised no less than $1 million. And that is all due to great supporters from corporate celebrities, great affluent people that understands our vision. But it is a luxury event with live entertainment, casino night, luxury cars, silent auction, live auction, celebrity golf tournament. We also do a celebrity lunch, a bruncheon. We do a luxury rooftop party. So it's like a whole weekend of just freaking amazingness to raise money for a great cause. And we were scheduled this Saturday, July 25th, coming up. But due to COVID, and, we don't like to lose, so we got to get ready to kick that COVID in the butt, eventually.
Yeah.
But we have to be respectful and cautious. So unfortunately, we had to postpone it. And I'm sad. Most importantly, I'm sad because we were going to feature this amazing lady named Deb, was coming off from LA to cover the red carpet.
Bad.
Yeah, and we were just like, we were ready to put the lights on her and the pressure on her. So we're going to have to work on that and get that back.
I have that athlete's mentality, so I could handle it.
Well, here's some exciting news. So the $1 Million Mingle Celebrity Luxury Party Fundraiser, as we call it, it was birthed here in Scottsdale, Arizona, but it's gotten so popular and so big among corporate and communities where now we're traveling. So we're going to be in Vegas. We're going to be in Beverly Hills next year. We're going to be at the Super Bowl every year doing it. So we're so honored to see the vision grow, the brand grow.
And where can the audience find more information about Future Pro Sports and the $1 Million Mingle once it's rescheduled?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, once again, they can go to milliondollarmingle.com. And I always say this humbly because we work hard in life to make a lot of our information public. They can always go Google us or YouTube, $1 Million Mingle, or my name, AC Caswell, and it kind of show up our portfolio of what we do with our sports. You can go to YouTube and see our football tours. We go all over the world, Canada, we go to Brazil, Africa, United States, Mexico. I mean, we do a lot. We give back all throughout. But a lot of our websites are being changed over to 2021. But you can always kind of catch a few things on YouTube and, Google and things like that as well.
Awesome. And you also are really involved still with the NFL. You sit on the board. What do you do with them?
Yeah, but what I do is, obviously every state has its own chapter division. I've, work with our NFL board here through NFL Players Association. My cousin-in-law obviously is Tim Brown, love him to death. And we all kind of stay actively involved. But we have so many other players that, one of my great friends who played with me at the Raiders, Mr. Nolan Harrison, is our president of, the NFL Players Association and NFL Trust. And so we all stay actively involved on how we can keep our guys engaged. Right now, the biggest thing is health and wellness. All of our resources that's available to us, benefits that are still available to us where some guys don't know how to accomplish those things. So we stay involved, and it's all about the players. How do we continue to give us the best?
Right. And let's talk a little bit about the current situation in the NFL. Rookies for Kansas City and the Texans reported this week to training camp. I believe all the rookies came yesterday, and then the veterans are due on the 28th of July. Do you think it's safe right now for these guys to be playing?
Here's the deal, what I've learned, and I'm going to be very obviously cautious on when I speak
of course,
due to the situation. But here's what I would say, and I'll kind of put it in the most middle that I can put it. This COVID, it proved that it doesn't care about anybody. Okay. Your status, some celebrities, professional athletes, middle class, poor, rich, white, black, it attacks everyone. And I think we have to be aware of nothing is more important than our safety and health and wellness. So with that being said, we know that guys have been tested positive in the NFL and a lot of other sports. This is a different thing to deal with. I would feel bad that, and nothing is more contact than football. Every play, every snap. So we just have to be careful. I know guys want to get paid and they're excited about their career, and the poor rookies who just got drafted or, coming in as free agents, preseason, like what preseason? I mean, that's where you perform. That's where you get case.
And it went from 4 games to 2 games to 1 game, and now there's no preseason whatsoever.
Exactly. So it's just a different time, and I'm rooting for. Only thing I can say is I pray that the trainers, the coaches, the owners, the medical staff, that we create some type of safe environment with everyday checks and temperature checks and some type of bubble like everybody else is doing. And we have to immediately jump on if a guy is not feeling good. Forget pride, forget ego, forget game check, forget some of the things that we were told as players. Oh, go back out on the field, be tough. This is not about that. It's bigger than that.
Right. And also, too, as far as the fans, I know the Jets and the Giants said that they are not having any fans in the stadium this season. I know Philly last week said the same thing. I think some teams like Atlanta are having smaller amounts of fans. What do you think football will be like? Do you think, will football be the same without fans in the stadium?
People don't realize how important the fans are. And I've always said this, I've had many conversations as a former player, as a fan of the game. And I've always said that fans have so many rights. They don't understand how important they are. That's our motivation. That's our extra gear to want to, do something. We know the TV land is watching us. in social media, but it's nothing like having fans getting mad at you, cheering for you, hating on you. You know, it's going to be
And
such
the
a
Raiders fans are really good at that.
oh my goodness! It's like, man, that's going to be so different. I mean, it's just I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. I believe that if you space it out accordingly, and maybe, but the hard part is, who do you leave out? You know, you're
Mhm.
talking about a 70,000 seat stadium, and you're going to limit it to what, maybe 5,000 people spread out. I mean, who do you leave out? You know, so
Right.
that's like my event. You know, with the Dollar Mingle, we had a chance
Mhm.
to bring in 50 people, 3,000 people come to my event. Who are we going to leave out?
Yep.
You know, it's tough.
It's tough. It's tough. And finally, one more question. I know this season the NFL is allowing players and staff to wear decals to honor those lost to police brutality and racial violence. Is that a huge step for the NFL?
Absolutely. Because we've always said that, guys, we're bigger than just players. Those
Hmm.
days we can't just go out and play ball. No, you know, we have a voice, you know, on and off the field. And I think you have to embrace that, just like in corporate America. It's a job, and you have to embrace that. So I am honored to see the NFL teaming up with players and saying, how do we make it work? How do we honor those that are, you know, and bring awareness, in the right positive awareness? Because
Hmm.
both sides have a story. All police officers are not bad officers. Okay, all players are not bad players. Some have issues that shouldn't be in the league. Some officers shouldn't be on the force. Do a better job of screening. You know, do a better job of making sure guys are getting the proper services and treatment. You know, of behavior or emotional distress or whatever you want to call it, mental health awareness, whatever. But
Right.
I am glad to see the NFL taking that step to say, hey, this is bigger than just a game. So
Hmm.
yeah, I love this.
Awesome. All right, AC, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate everything. You're an inspiration to everyone. We have to get together and match cheetahs. You being
There
the
you go.
cheetah and me wearing cheetah because it's my favorite pattern.
Hey, I just want to give a shout out to all the Raider fans. Hey, keep supporting us in Vegas. It's going to be amazing. You know, Raider Nation all the way. And you know, thank you, Ms. Deb, for your platform. And definitely appreciate you
I was so excited to have you. Guys, here next week, same time, same place. If you like today's show, please subscribe. And football forever. Much love.
Awesome. Touchdown, timeout.